Well, good afternoon on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Thank you so much for keeping it TV47. We have lots lined up for you, and it's a pleasure to have you joining us. My name is Linda Alela. Before we get to the stories of the day, let's take a look at the highlights. National Transport and Safety Authority to unveil its action plan for the year 2023-2027. The Technical University of Kenya teaching and non-teaching staff demonstrate to demand their welfare addressed. Police in Eldoret have recovered an assortment of stolen electronic goods. The goods are at the Eldoret Central Police Station.
Tuko na laptops na vitu mingi, fridges, mumeona ziko pande hii, microwaves na vitu mingi ambao ni electronics.
This is News Now. Thank you so much for keeping it TV47. It's important that you interact with us. The hashtag is News Now at Linda_Alela at TV47KE. We look at your comments as we continue with the broadcast. Now, learning was paralyzed for the better part of Wednesday as Technical University staff members, including the academic staff, administrative staff and technical staff, took to the streets to protest against delayed salaries. According to the staff, they are yet to receive their September salaries, and they have decried high cost of living, further demanding that the Ministry of Education then intervenes.
Requesting an explanation as to why, after working for 2 months, we have been paid for half a month. The management has not accepted to speak to us, and we don't take this kindly. We will take the next course of action that is allowed in law to ensure that our members not only work, but they work under good working conditions, and that they are paid their salaries consistently and in good time. This is the message we are sending to the management, but also to our mother ministry, the Ministry of Education, because an institution as close to the ministry as TUK cannot be having such financial challenges for many years, and yet no action is being taken. This we don't take kindly. So let me invite our National Secretary General, who will then give his remarks. Asanteni sana.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to say that what is happening here at Technical University of Kenya is very strange, because these workers have not been paid their September salary, and today is 25th of October. Other public sector employees started receiving their October salary yesterday. And I want to say that these employees also have bills to pay. They are needed to commute to work. How can you commute to work while you have not been paid? And the Vice Chancellor is lying to them that the government has not released capitation for September, while I'm aware that the government paid public universities double capitation in the month of October. So what did they use with this money? That is the explanation we want from the Vice Chancellor.
We demand!
And he has refused to address members of the staff. That means he knows where he took the money for September salary. And the government should take action and do a thorough audit on this, in this institution. Yes. So that we know. This is one institution where bank loans are not paid, SACCO loans are not being paid, pension is not being paid. So where do these people take money? Retirees are dying. And this is one university that is even implementing salary scales that we don't know, we don't have in our CBA, that they prorated the salary scales. what has not been heard of in any public university in Kenya. So I want to call upon the government, because the government has got the machinery to thoroughly do forensic audit in this institution. And I want to give the new Vice Chancellor a free advice. If you want to run technical university, the people I saw surrounding you in that boardroom, first of all, remove them. Remove the people I saw surrounding you there, because they are sabotaging you. They don't mean well. They are the same people who have run down this institution.
And police officers in Eldoret have recovered an assortment of stolen electronic goods following a raid that was conducted yesterday on one of the streets in Eldoret that harbors popular quick money traders, locally known as Shylocks. And Uasin Gishu County Commander Benjamin Mwanthi, speaking after the arrest, asked members of the public to avail themselves at the Eldoret Central Police Station to identify their possible stolen items.
Tumefanya operation na tukaweza kunaza vitu electronics ambao mnaona nyuma yetu hapa. Tuko na simu around 156, tuko na laptops around 33. Mmeona tuko na cylinders za gas around 27. Tuko na laptops na vitu mingi, fridges. Mmeona siko pande hii, microwaves na vitu mingi ambao ni electronics. So tunaomba members of public waendelee kutupea information, kushirikiana na police officers, wale wako patrol na wale wako stations, watumie pia simu zetu kutupatia information kuhusu uhalifu na mahali ile vitu ikibiwa inakuwa. Tumepata mahali inaitwa Petrisha that building, lakini tumepata kwa duka tofauti. Tumepata kwa duka tofauti ambazo ni duka 4. Na tumeshika asset nao watu 7. Tumeshika asset nao watu 7 na bado tunaendelea na uchunguzi. We might make more arrests shortly, within a very short time, na tutajulisha nyinyi pia tutamake more arrests baada ya ile uchunguzi tunaendelea kufanya.
More than 100 women with children suffering from a stomach condition are facing a stigma from the society and high treatment cost of dealing with the condition. In Juja, those living with the condition sought refuge at Stoma community-based organization, where they were able to benefit from well-wishers who contributed some of the hygiene products like sanitary towels needed by those affected. Some of the children have gone through about 6 to 9 surgeries but have developed health complications. The affected mothers now want the organization to help in creating awareness about the condition, especially in schools.
Surgery ya mwisho kufungwa stoma 2021 ndio alishikwa na shida ya kuanguka, akaanza kuanguka, huwa ana converse. So sisi tukaandae filamu. Ilifika mahali tukapigwa picha EEG ni picha ya kichwa, unawekwa tu vitu huku, unatuita tu vitu, tunaconnectiwa kwa machine. Ndio niliambiwa mtoto wangu akaanzishwa hizo dawa za filamu. Sasa sisi tunakunywa hizo dawa na amalizagi 2 weeks bila kuconfess. So kuendelea hivi tukaambiwa tupigiwe picha ya brain and spine, of which me kwangu ilikuwa ngumu. Haya, kitu yenye sasa inaniuma kabisa ni ati mtoto wangu hawezi control pupu. Yes, nilifurahia mtoto wangu aliweza kupupu, but for real mtoto wangu hawezi control pupu. Alafu hata ukiwa kwa mtaa, hata kwa plot, nisha fight juu ya mtoto wangu. Mtu anakuita unacheza na huyu mlemavu mwenye anatoaga mapupu, huyo nilipiga.
Show yake alitolewa kwa tumbo juu alikuwa anafula, nyingine inatokea kwa mdomo. Sasa akatolewa kwa tumbo, koloni zake siko nje, lakini anaendelea na matibabu. Ameanza akiwa 2013 kusaliwa, alisaliwa hivyo mpaka saa hii ako na 10 years 3 months. Alikuwa yani madaktari wamengangana tu lakini wamejaribu.
And well, what an unfortunate occurrence there to another one. Over 1,500 babies are born with spina bifida every year. Closely linked to this condition is the hydrocephalus, which affects about 88% of 100,000 individuals. This condition mostly affects the brain and the spine. A series of surgeries, at times up to 6, are required to correct some of the affected organs like the head, the spine and the legs. Our reporter Elizabeth Atieno caught up with some of the people living with this condition, popularly known as SBH, and filed this report.
Can you imagine what life could be like if you had a pipe linked from your brain all the way to your stomach, simply because your brain produces more cerebrospinal fluid than usual? And as if that is not enough, you have to undergo a series of brain surgeries just to stay alive? Well, that is the story of Virginia Muhudhia and other Kenyans living with hydrocephalus condition. She was diagnosed in October 2003.
There's the production and the absorption of the cerebrospinal fluid in our brains there's an imbalance. So when people like myself and people like me have more production than is absorbed, and when cerebrospinal fluid sits in the brain, it starts causing you brain damage.
This scar in Virginia's head is from one of the brain surgeries where a pipe, scientifically known as the VP shunt, was induced to drain the excess fluid. For children, the symptoms are so evident as the head swells in an unusual manner.
So the cerebrospinal fluid that is excess is redirected to the peritoneal cavity, where it is later reabsorbed or excreted as waste.
Nimekuwa na changamoto kwa watu kwa ploti kuchekelea hivyo tu, lakini saa amekuwa sawa kidogo. Amefanywa hata surgery ya miguu, hajaanza kutembea.
The episodes of severe headache can be unbearable for people living with hydrocephalus. This can be triggered by stress or adverse change in weather.
I have a very short memory. I am very active in the early morning hours, and in the afternoon there's a dip.
The treatment is very costly, considering the medications and the equipments like the VP shunt are normally imported at a cost of over 10,000 Kenya shillings each.
We have to keep doing brain scans just to check the integrity of the shunt system. We have to keep doing abdominal ultrasounds.
Hydrocephalus is closely linked to spina bifida condition, a birth defect that occurs when the spine and the spinal cord don't form properly, thereby causing a gap in the spine, preventing the flow of the spinal fluid to the tarsal area, causing some deformities affecting the legs, as is seen in Rocky Malombe, who was born with the condition. Malombe has undergone 6 surgeries, the vital one being the spinal bifida closure, where the gap in the spine is sealed. Years later, he went through leg surgeries.
I was born with it, so it's not that a big deal. I realize I'm different when I see people looking at me. So for me, it's easier for me to accept myself because I was born with it. Yeah.
October is an awareness month for those living with spina bifida and hydrocephalus CBH, where they seek to ensure that their rights are respected and also celebrated for their contribution in the society. They say disability is a club that anyone can join. In this room is a group of men, women, and even children with spina bifida and hydrocephalus condition. They are now calling on the society to be empathetic and break the stigma. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
Yes, the stories clearly call for awareness. Now, Garimara Ward residents in Isiolo County have requested the government to reopen the police station in the area 5 years after it was closed due to clashes between the youth and the police, an incident which led to the death of one of the officers. Speaking during a community engagement organized by Isiolo Peace Link, the residents expressed their readiness to reconcile and start working with security operators. Moses Maloba, who's the Assistant County Commissioner, and Garimara said that the plans to reopen a police station are in the advanced stages and expressed his optimism that the residents are now ready to work closely with the police. And according to Moses, police reservists have already been deployed in the area and are working with the residents to counter cases of insecurity that the residents said are being witnessed.
Kituo cha polisi kilikuwa hapo awali, kukatokea na jambo ambalo lilifanywa kikafungwa. Na polisi kuna ile mpangilio inafanywa ndio ikafunguliwa. Juzi wakubwa wetu walikuwa wanafuatilia na iko kwa mpangilio. Hivi karibuni police station itafunguliwa hapa Ngaremara. Lakini kwa sasa tunatumia askari wetu wa NPR ambao wanatusaidia sana kuweka amani hapa Ngaremara. Hizi kuna ile uhusiano mzuri kati ya wananchi na askari. Na hao askari sasa tukipata kufungua hiyo station hapa, nadhani tutafanya kazi kwa ukaribu sana na hao polisi wetu.
Lakini tunaomba msamaha kwa ile makosa tulifanya, tukaribu uhusiano wetu na askari. Lakini through that changamoto ambayo tulipata tukiwa wanajamii wa Ngaremara, tunaomba serikali yetu iturudishie sisi posti ya Ngaremara, maana tumekuwa hata na ile tumekuwa hata na ile wisi kidogo aswa kwa hao vijana wetu ambaye hawana kazi.
Now, residents of Tana River County want the government of that county to solve the challenge of water shortage that has been persistent in the area for decades now. According to the Senator for Tana River, that is Danson Mungatana, he has called on the governor to fully implement water projects using budgeted funds appropriately. The locals have also complained that the situation of lack of water has negatively impacted the health of their children, forcing many of them to even drop out of school.
Hapa mjini there's no water, lakini tunaandikwa katika Kenya nzima kati ya zile county ambazo watu wanasafiri zaidi ni Tana River County, lakini hakuna maji. So tunasema hatuombi, tunasema ni lazima mututumie pesa zetu vizuri. Na we are not going to keep quiet, and we are going to take further action kama mambo hayatabadilika. Na pale Ocean Beach mutoke, murudi Tana River, mkafanye kazi Tana River. That's what you're supposed to do. Maji hakuna. Na wananchi paka wamejitokeza, wameenda maandamano, na governor badala ya kujibu waseme watasuluhisha hiyo taabu ya wananchi namna gani, naye anasema afadhali aende maandamano na wananchi. What kind of thing is this? Tunasema this time we expect services to the people. Na mimi nasema all the MCAs, sisi na nitawaongoza nyinyi, tuseme ukweli. Tukipitisha, nyinyi mkipitisha budget, lazima hiyo budget ikuwe implemented. Na sisi hatukupitisha budget watu waende Malindi wakajienjoy, because that is what is happening in this county government. And we are very disappointed by the governor and his team. They must pull up their socks.
Tunaumia na upande wa maji. Maji ndio yana shida ajabu. Maji haya kuna watu wako Gariseni West upande wa Kajisteni ni mpaka wapande paka karibu Isoi huko kwa visima. Wakina mama wanafunga mitungi, na wengine ni walemavu, na wengine hawajiwezi. Kwa hivyo ni kitu ambacho ni changamoto, na wakati huu wakati wa jua kali na kiangazi kikali, mapresha, sukari, wakina mama wanaumia. Watoto paka saa nyingine wahepeshwe shule, wabebe mitungi kwenda kuchota maji kwa kisima.
Mtoto akienda shule kwenda na jerrycan, akasome Gariseni, jioni arudi na jerrycan la maji. Kwa hivyo tuna shida, viongozi nao wametutupa.
And a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders have said that the government will ensure consistent provision of sanitary towels to school, that is school-going girls, where the project will be managed by women representatives under the new Affirmative Action Development Funds. Speaking at Turutu Secondary School in Kegumo, Murang'a, nominated Senator Veronica Maina affirmed that the Kenya Kwanza government is working to ensure that it fulfills its pledge on provision of sanitary pads to school-going girls. She said that the girls and women living in poverty usually end up trading sex for sanitary pads because they cannot afford them, making them susceptible to the triple threat of HIV and AIDS, contraction and planned pregnancies, as well as gender-based violence.
Parliament is taking a step further to make sure they legislate about sanitary towels, provision of sanitary towels to vulnerable groups. That includes the students, the pupils, young mothers, and prisons, where they can be provided without that category having to suffer very much or having to lose a benefit in, say, education or lessons just because they didn't have sanitary pads. Because that would mean every month, if a girl can't attend school, every month, 4 days a week or 5 days a week because of menstrual periods, then that becomes a challenge. And that's why the government was keen on it
Kenya Kwanza and our president promised the women and the girls on the support, and I'm aware the Ministry of Gender, together with the Ministry of Education, have had a conversation, and the women reps have been equipped time and again with sanitary pads to be able to distribute them to the people who are within their region, to the students within the schools within their electoral units, and even the communities around where they have been voted to represent.
Well, some news hitting our editorial desk is just that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, has upheld the Azimio members of Parliament petition to strip off nominated Member of Parliament Sabina Chege her role as the Deputy Minority Whip. You will remember that this was upon that request by Minority Leader Opiyo Ndai, who had written to the Speaker Moses Wetangula requesting or communicating the decision by the Azimio La Umoja team to remove Chege as the Minority Deputy Whip, the decision that was vehemently opposed by the Jubilee side. And Sabina Chege, as of course being stripped off, will be replaced by Embakasi West Member of Parliament, that is Mark Mwenji, a developing story that will work on to make sure that you get more updates of the same. Now, the Cabinet Secretary for Information, Communication and Digital Economy, Eliud Owalo, has acknowledged that the digital industry has the capacity to create a minimum of about 1 million jobs in the country. And as he announced the strategies that the government has invested in to achieve the objective. Speaking in Mombasa while attending the County Public Service Board's annual convention conference, the CS also announced that the government has already partnered with private sector to facilitate local assembly of cheap market phones to enhance access and inclusivity among Kenyans in the digital space. So far, at least 13,000 government services can be accessed online out of approximately 15,000 services.
We are committed to efficient digital access to government services by our citizens, no matter where they may be in the world. Our focus is on smart government for smart service delivery. And our responsibility, however, goes beyond governance to extend to fostering innovation, enhancing service delivery, and ensuring that no citizen is left behind in the digital revolution. Digitalization of government records and services is proceeding with earnest determination. There are integral ICT interventions that we have been tasked with the responsibility of executing. One, we are rolling out 100,000 kilometers of fiber connectivity so that those parts of the country indiscriminately that had hitherto not been connected by way of internet get access to reliable and stable internet. Our target is to ensure that in each and every ward in this country, we are going to have a digital hub, ward being the lowest administrative unit. We will be able to train the youth right there in the village. But our interest is not exclusively digital training. Our target is to empower the youth by way of digital jobs. Today we don't have the white-collar jobs. So the only space where we have got unlimited opportunities by way of jobs is the digital space. So we are telling the members of parliament with whom we want to partner to give us the facilities where we can set up the digital hubs.
Now, the Mombasa County government has waived unpaid licenses or taxes owed to them from at least 30,000 small-scale businesses during the period in which the COVID-19 pandemic struck the nation. The county boss, Abdul Somad Sharif Nasir, argued that the move will enable the traders to manage their current dues. Mombasa has established new revenue collection measures, which include the introduction of a digital identification card among the staff collecting taxes, which also contains a QR code for verification. The new developments are likely to combat fraudsters who disguise themselves as revenue collectors to horn traders.
We do not want, especially now when things are extremely tough financially, what we have opted to do for businesses that had not paid their licenses during the time of COVID, we're going to be making arrangements for those particular licenses for that period of COVID to be waived. 2, everyone has to comply for now, because we can't have, when you have others that have been able to comply, especially now that we have reduced these permits. Tumeweza kutoa hii stakabadhi ama identification Hii identification hapa kwanza, hata kama ni kadi ya kawaida, lakini hii kuna hii QR code. Wewe mtu akija kwako, utachukua hii simu yako, uilekeze kamera kwa hii QR code, na pale pale itaweza kukupatia notification ama tahadhari ya kuwa mtu fulani ni kweli mfanyakazi wa county na anafanya kazi katika department ya revenue. Kwa hivyo kama ni mtu ambaye kwamba hauhusiani, itakuwa ama mtu ni tapeli, italeta mambo mengine.
Well, that tells you it's time to get sporty, and KCB Bank Kenya has been on a good run in the ongoing Kenya Institute of Bankers Interbank Sports, the Kenya School of Monetary Studies and other selected venues. The women's tug-of-war team defeated their arch-rivals Equity Bank 2-0 in the quarters to set up a mouth-watering semi-final clash against Central Bank of Kenya, that is CBK, while in football, Samuel Mwangi and Wycliffe Owaka scored 2 crucial goals to hand the men's football team a 2-1 win over Bank of Baroda in a quarter-final contest played at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies. They now prepare to tackle NCBA in the semis tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.